When most people picture an alcoholic, they think of the obvious image: someone who can't hold down a job, someone who's visibly falling apart, someone whose life has collapsed around them. But there's another type of drinker who flies under the radar. The lawyer who runs 2 miles every morning, the executive who never misses a meeting, the parent who keeps the house running, the bills paid, and the appearances intact. On the surface, they look like they're doing fine. That's what we call a high-functioning drinker. Outwardly, they're in control. Inwardly, alcohol is running the show. And here's the danger. Because everything looks stable on the outside, the drinking gets dismissed. The person tells themselves, if I'm still performing, it can't be that bad. Friends and colleagues might even admire them for handling it. But the reality is that high-functioning drinking is one of the most dangerous stages of problem drinking. It hides the damage until the collapse comes, and when it does, it's often faster and more devastating than anyone expected. In this video, I'm pulling back the curtain on the truth behind high-functioning drinking. The body damage that silently accumulates, the false sense of control that convinces you you're safe when you're not, the slow erosion of relationships, and the quiet theft of your potential, the ambitions, the creativity, the life you could have lived if alcohol wasn't running the show. By the end, you'll see high functioning for what it really is, the final disguise alcohol wears before the damage becomes impossible to ignore. The mask of success. The defining feature of a high-functioning drinker is that life looks normal. The job is intact, the bills are paid, the family isn't falling apart. There are no arrests or problems with the law, and no obvious disasters. From the outside, it doesn't even look like a problem. But this is the mask of success. The reality is that alcohol is still dictating decisions, moods, and behaviors. It just hasn't toppled the outer structures yet. Many high-functioning drinkers use this mask as proof they don't have a problem. If I was really an alcoholic, I wouldn't be able to work 60 hours a week. If I was really out of control, my partner would have left. The logic feels convincing, but it's a trap. Functioning doesn't mean alcohol isn't doing damage. It just means the damage hasn't broken through the surface. Have no doubt, high-functioning drinkers experience the same biological changes, liver inflammation, high blood pressure, rising tolerance, as people who are visibly struggling. That's the dark irony. The mask of success doesn't protect these people, but it does protect the alcohol. It gives the drinking more time to dig in deeper, hidden behind the illusion of control. Silent physical damage. One of the biggest lies high-functioning drinkers tell themselves is this: if I was really damaging my body, I'd know it. The truth is, you usually don't. Alcohol harms your organs long before the warning lights start flashing. Take the liver. By the time symptoms like jaundice or pain appear, years of damage have already been done. High-functioning drinkers often pass medical checkups for a long time, but that doesn't mean their liver isn't inflamed or scarred. The same goes for the heart. Heavy drinking raises blood pressure almost immediately, even in people who exercise and look fit. Over time, the constant strain increases the risk of atrial fibrillation, heart failure, and stroke. But you don't feel those risks until the day they hit. Brain scans tell a similar story. Research shows that even people who appear high-functioning have measurable shrinkage in gray matter. It starts in areas linked to memory and decision-making. You might still look sharp in meetings, but underneath, alcohol is quietly eroding your cognitive reserve. The danger of silent physical damage is simple. The longer you stay functional, the deeper the harm sets in. By the time the collapse comes, it's not just about stopping drinking. It's about repairing years of damage you didn't even know were happening. Tolerance, the false badge of strength. Another red flag for high-functioning drinkers is tolerance. Being able to handle your alcohol feels like a badge of honor. You can drink more than your friends and still show up for work the next day. You can have a bottle of wine and carry on a normal conversation. But tolerance is not strength. It's the clearest sign that your body has already adapted to poison. Here's what's happening. In the liver, enzyme production ramps up. The alcohol gets broken down faster, but that process creates acetaldehyde, a chemical even more toxic than alcohol itself. The faster your body clears alcohol, the more of this poison builds up. It only makes the damage worse. In the brain, tolerance shows up in a different way. Alcohol works by boosting GABA, the brain's calming neurotransmitter, and by blocking glutamate, which excites your nervous system. Over time, the brain compensates. GABA receptors get less sensitive. Glutamate receptors increase. The balance shifts. Now, the same amount of alcohol produces less relaxation, less euphoria. You need more to feel the same effect. While you feel like you're in control because you don't get drunk as fast, the truth is the opposite. Tolerance means your body has become dependent. It's adapted itself around alcohol. And the longer this goes on, the more you drink, the more invisible damage accumulates. The productivity illusion. If there's one thing high-functioning drinkers cling to, it's this idea. Alcohol helps me perform. It helps me relax before a big meeting. It sparks creativity when I'm stuck. It takes the edge off so I can keep working under pressure. Alcohol disrupts sleep cycles, especially REM sleep. Even if you sleep 7 or 8 hours after drinking, your brain doesn't get the deep, restorative phases it needs. That means slower thinking, worse memory, and less focus. Over time, that erosion adds up. You might still be getting work done, but not at your full capacity. It also damages executive function, the part of the brain responsible for planning, decision-making, and self-control. That decline doesn't show up overnight, but it subtly blunts your sharpness. Tasks take longer. Ideas don't flow as easily. Stress feels heavier. High-functioning drinkers often achieve despite alcohol, not because of it. They think the drinking is helping, when in reality, it's just numbing them enough to push through the stress. The very thing people think makes them more productive is the thing holding them back. High-functioning drinkers rarely see how much higher they could climb, how much sharper they could be, or how much easier life could feel, because alcohol has convinced them that this is as good as it gets. Relationships pay first. Even when careers and bank accounts look fine, relationships are usually the first to take the hit. Alcohol shifts how you connect to the people closest to you, often in ways you don't even notice. One of the earliest signs is secrecy. At first, it's small lies, saying you had 2 drinks when it was really 5, or pretending you're not drinking when you already are. Over time, the secrecy grows. You hide bottles, deflect questions, and avoid conversations. That erosion of honesty chips away at trust. And trust is the foundation of every close relationship. Then there's the emotional side. Alcohol changes how the brain processes feelings. Long-term drinking dulls empathy, blunts emotional responses, and makes you less able to read subtle cues in your partner's voice or face. Misunderstandings turn into arguments. Patience turns into irritability. People around you start saying you feel distant or unavailable, even though you think you're still present. The irony is that many high-functioning drinkers pride themselves on being providers and dependable partners, but emotionally, alcohol is already pulling them away. The damage shows up long before the job loss or the hospital visit. Relationships are often the first arena where alcohol quietly takes control. The illusion of control. High-functioning drinkers almost always believe they're in control. After all, they're still meeting deadlines, paying bills, and hitting the gym. The drinking looks like a choice, not a problem. But this is one of alcohol's greatest tricks. The appearance of control is really just a delay in collapse. Inside, the brain has already adapted. Dopamine pathways are reshaped, tolerance is rising, cravings are being triggered automatically. Yet because life still looks stable, the drinker convinces themselves everything is fine. The illusion is reinforced by discipline. High-functioning people often excel at self-control in other areas: diet, exercise, career. That same discipline gets used to rationalize drinking. If I can succeed here, I can't be failing there. But alcohol doesn't negotiate with discipline. It works around it, slowly shifting priorities until the control slips. And when the mask finally cracks, it often does so quickly. One health crisis, one DUI, one partner walking out the door, and suddenly the illusion shatters. That's the cruel part. The stronger the illusion of control, the harder the fall when reality breaks through. The lost potential. Not every high-functioning drinker crashes in dramatic fashion. Some never get divorced, never lose their jobs, never wind up in rehab. On paper, they look successful. But the hidden cost is often what never happened. The opportunities missed, the creativity dulled, the relationships that never deepened. Alcohol has a way of shrinking life. It narrows the range of emotions, dampens curiosity, and blunts ambition. The drinker might stay afloat, but they stop reaching. Instead of living fully, they live half-speed. Nights blend into mornings, weeks blur together, years slip by under a haze of functioning. That's the dark side people don't talk about. It's not always about spectacular collapse. Sometimes it's about mediocrity, living below your true capacity without even realizing it. That silent theft of potential is one of alcohol's most devastating effects. The darkest part of high-functioning drinking is that you don't notice what's missing until it's too late to get it back. But did you know, there's a reason it feels harder to imagine stopping now than it did a few years ago. Every drink, every routine, every "I've got this under control" moment is training your brain to depend on alcohol just a little more. The longer it goes on, the deeper it gets wired in, chemically, physically, and emotionally. In the next video, I'll show you exactly why that happens, why quitting alcohol gets harder every single year you wait, and why the best time to stop isn't someday, it's today. Click the video on the screen now to watch it. I'll see you there.